Welcome to UML fan Chris Romero News. Here is your top stories for today. If you read the title, you know what this video is about. Noggin is officially back after ceasing operations. With more information on what you need to know about this revival and return of Noggin, here is Eric. Eric, what do you have?
Noggin, Paramount Global's kid-friendly spot that boasted more than 2 million lifetime subscribers when it was shuttered in July 2024. Is coming back as an independent gaming, streaming app, and the company behind it has a multi-staged roadmap for growth. It's important to note that Noggin 2.0 is completely independent. Paramount signed over all brand assets, including the name and underpinning technology, to Kane's company last fall, and a core team was assembled roughly 6 months ago. The platform they've developed since is intended for kids ages 5 to 12, a slightly older demo than the original's preschool target. By aging up, New Noggin hopes to reach Gen Alphas who are eager to discover and explore their passions.
And also, you're looking at the new logo for Noggin. Now, honestly, I wish they kept the old logo that was teased, but that's okay. Let me know down below, what do you think of the new Noggin logo? To the viewers in Canada, as you know, Nickelodeon Canada is set to shut down this Labor Day. With more information on what this could mean for you, here is Eric. Eric, what do you have?
Chorus Entertainment has announced that Nickelodeon Canada will be closing down on Monday, September 1, 2025. The channel is owned and operated by WEIU Canada Incorporated, a subsidiary of Chorus, under license from Paramount Global. Nickelodeon will be one of several kids' channels that Chorus will be closing on September 1, with the Canadian versions of Disney XD, Disney Junior, La Chaîne Disney, Disney French, and ABC Spark also scheduled to shutter on that day. Chorus has told distributors that the channel closures are due to financial pressures. Launched on November 2, 2009, Nickelodeon Canada primarily airs a mix of both contemporary and older original programming seen on its U.S. counterpart, with most of Nickelodeon's current programming airing on YTV and Treehouse TV. The channel also features a commercial-free, ad-supported on the weekends, Nick Jr. branded block of preschool programming during the daytime hours. In order to fulfill Canadian content guidelines, Nickelodeon also airs programming sourced from other Chorus on network. YTV currently airs Nickelodeon series such as SpongeBob SquarePants and The Loud House on weekdays and Comp Coral, SpongeBob's Underyears, The Patrick Star Show and Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the weekends. However, starting Monday, September 1, Nickelodeon programs will be leaving the channel's weekday schedules. Instead, YTV will be replacing the usual SpongeBob and Loud House airings with The Amazing World of Gumball and Teen Titans Go, two Cartoon Network shows that the channel added in June. Chorus also operates the Canadian versions of Cartoon Network and Disney Channel, both of which are staying on the air. Meanwhile, Chorus preschool channel Treehouse currently runs Nickelodeon preschool series such as Blaze and the Monster Machines and Bubble Guppies, but these will also be leaving on September 1. Co-productions and Nickelodeon-branded shows that are distributed by third-party companies appear to remain on Chorus channels. While the full week's schedule isn't known just yet, it appears that Chorus, a longtime Nickelodeon partner, has lost the rights to broadcast Nickelodeon programming, and not just the branded channel. Nickelodeon programming will still be available on Paramount Plus.
UML fan Chris Romero News will continue after these submissions, so you know what time it is.
Now is the Carson's Corner movie. Up next is Bluey and Rosie. Later is User Tales of Adventures. Only on the Carson's Corner channel.
I'm famous? Oh my god!
So this is a submission from me. If you notice, my playlist of the summer of UML fan Chris Romero changed, and it now looks like this. Y'all can't get enough of Rowdy, can you? By the way, your UMass Lowell Riverhawks return October 3rd. Stay tuned. Go Riverhawks.
BO start. Streaming start here.
Thank you all so much for your submissions. Ha! You thought that was all? I tricked you. It appears that the OW39 in Tampa Bay, which this is an AU channel, meaning it's not real, has a new logo. The logo was made by Mono. Check out his channel. Oh boy, an animated UML fan Chris Romero news. Wonder that will look like. Insert animation video here. I am not an ostrich. I love this creativity from viewers, so thank you all so much for your submission. Moving on to my international viewers, you might have heard the news, but if you haven't, here's Eric with all the details.
Paramount Global is reportedly planning to close 9 channels in Poland and Hungary, including TNA and Nick Music, although currently unannounced by Paramount Global. A spokesperson for Orange Polska has revealed that the media company has told Polish television operators that they're planning to shutter Nickelodeon channels TNA and Nick Music, along with MTV channels MTV 80s, MTV 90s, MTV 2000s, MTV Hits, MTV Live, Club MTV, WEIU as Polsat Comedy Central Extra, in the region by the end of the year. Representatives from Paramount and Poland declined to comment on this information. Paramount is set to close MTV 80s, MTV 2000s and Nick Music will be closing in the Benelux region. In Poland, the music channels MTV 90s, MTV 2000s, and MTV Live are broadcast via satellite and are available on Polsat Box and Canal Plus, the entertainment-focused Polsat Comedy Central Extra, as well as the children's channels TNA and Nick Music, are also available in these platforms packages. Paramount will also be closing 10 channels in Hungary on Wednesday 31st of December 2025, TNA, Nick Music, Comedy Central, Paramount Network, MTV 80s, MTV 90s, MTV 2000s, MTV Hits, MTV Live HD, and Club MTV, Nickelodeon-wise. This will leave Nickelodeon, Nick Jr. and Nicktoons in the region. Last week, Zyve, SK was the first to report the planned closure of several channels from the Paramount Global portfolio in Slovakia and Hungary, whilst Media Insider reported that Paramount is also planning to close several channels in New Zealand, including Nickelodeon and Nick Jr. The channel closures come as Paramount is in the midst of cutting operating costs ahead of their merger with Skydance Media, which has also included layoffs and studio closures. The channels being phased out in Europe have diverse thematic profiles. TNA Polska is aimed at viewers aged 10 to 16, and primarily broadcasts older live-action Nickelodeon series and recent TV movies for tweens and teens. It launched in Poland on September 1, 2021. Nick Music Polska, featuring popular music for children and teenagers, launched in Poland in June 2021, replacing MTV Music. This station operated from 2017 to 2021 after replacing Viva Polska. Polsat Comedy Central Extra debuted in March 2020, replacing Comedy Central Family. The channel's offerings includes both international series, Friends, Keeping Up Appearances, Hello, Hello. Produced in Poland, MTV 80s began broadcasting in December 2005 as VH1 Classic. In October 2020, it changed its name to MTV 80s and broadcasts music videos from the 80s. MTV 90s, which was also created in Poland, broadcasts songs from the 90s. It was launched in the fall of 2020, replacing MTV Rocks. Similarly, MTV 2000s, also created by the Polish branch of Paramount Global, then Viacom CBS, plays hits from the noughties. It was launched in August 2021, replacing VH1 Europe. MTV Hits launched in Europe, initially in the UK, in 2001. It then replaced MTV Extra. It broadcasts new music videos and recent hits from pop, rock, dance, and R&B music. It has a local version, among others, in France. Club MTV, featuring dance and club music, launched on the UK in 2001 as MTV Dance. In 2008, it replaced MTV based on Polish cable networks. In June 2020, MTV Dance changed its name to Club MTV. MTV Live HD began broadcasting on September 15, 2008 in parts of Europe under the name MTV NHD, MTV Nickelodeon HD. It was the first international station in high definition dedicated to music videos. Initially, the channel's programming was divided into two blocks, MTV HD and Nickelodeon HD. However, on July 1, 2011, the channel shifted its focus entirely to live music programming. The station broadcasts music videos, concerts, and entertainment programs. Initially managed by MTV Emerging Markets Group, the channel was produced and broadcast from its Warsaw hub until April 22, 2012, when operations moved to Paramount's London headquarters in Holly Crescent and Camden, occupying the former TV8M studios. The channels are part of Paramount Networks Europe, Middle East.
That was a lot. Moving on, there is a live stream planned today of the show Caso Cerrado, which translates to Case Closed, on their YouTube channel by the time this video is published. And here's more news from Eric.
WildBrain is planning to shut down its 4 channels after failing to renew carriage deals with major Canadian media companies Rogers and Bell. Without these critical agreements in place, Family Channel, Family, Family Junior, Preschool, WildBrain, 6 to 15, and Imagino, French-language kids, are no longer commercially viable, the company said in a statement. WildBrain doesn't have a precise date set for the closures yet, but it will happen after Rogers removes them in the coming months, according to a company spokesperson. This announcement comes in the wake of both Rogers and Bell deciding to remove the channels from their services, and WildBrain has also spent months trying to sell this part of its business. Back in December, the company had a deal agreed to sell a majority stake in its channel's business to Canadian animation studio WEIU Media Ventures for roughly $28 million US, 40 million Canadian dollars. But now that the value of the channels is drastically diminished by the lack of carriage contracts, this sale has fallen through. Shutting the channels will result in a simplification of the company's shareholder structure. There's currently a limit on non-Canadian ownership because foreign entities are not permitted to own a controlling stake in Canadian broadcast channels under the country's Broadcasting Act. Without the channel's business at play, WildBrain will no longer be subject to these controls, and all investors will have the same voting weight, says the same spokesperson. For nearly 4 decades, Family Channel has been a trusted destination for Canadian kids and families, said Josh Scriba, WildBrain's president and CEO, in a release. We're incredibly proud of the legacy we've built, thanks to our loyal viewers, dedicated television employees and the many talented Canadian producers we've partnered with. Family Channel commissioned and acquired animated and live-action programming, and was frequently the Canadian home for international series. In the last 2 years, it co-commissed a Canadian/Australian/Irish co-pro called Bad Jelly, picked up Sinking Ship, Leaf Films, Saga Films Beyond Black Beauty and Ordered I Woke Up a Vampire, produced in association with Netflix. WildBrain declined to comment on what would happen to current content licenses affected by the shutdown, but Scriba doesn't expect there to be a big impact on the company's bottom line. While it is unfortunate that the channels will be discontinued, the impact on our broader business is minimal and does not affect our go-forward strategy. The company's other business pillars are content creation, audience engagement and global licensing. And in its Q3 2025 financial report, the most recent one available, revenue was posted at $128.4 million US, up 42% year. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the conduit for federal funds to NPR and PBS, announced that it is beginning to wind down its operations, despite the extraordinary efforts of millions of Americans who called, wrote, and petitioned Congress to preserve federal funding for CPB. We now face the difficult reality of closing our operations, CPB President and CEO Patricia Harrison said in a statement. CPB remains committed to fulfilling responsibilities and supporting our partners through this transition with transparency and care. Public media has been one of the most trusted institutions in American life, providing educational opportunity, emergency alerts, civil discourse, and cultural connection to every corner of the country, Harrison said. CPB informed employees that the majority of staff positions will be eliminated with the close of the fiscal year on September 30, 2025. It said a small team would remain until January to focus on compliance, fiscal distributions, and resolution of long-term financial obligations, including ensuring continuity for music rights and royalties that remain essential to the public media system, according to the CPB statement. NPR, which produces news programs such as Morning Edition and All Things Considered, relies on direct federal funds for only a small portion of its budget, but its approximately 1,000 member stations receive a heftier portion of their operating revenue through CPB. Those in rural and poor areas in particular rely on CPB grants, with its nightly PBS NewsHour and children's programming, such as Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. PBS gets around 15% of its revenue from federal money, as do its member stations on average. The ripple effects of this closure will be felt across every public media organization and, more importantly, in every community across the country that relies on public broadcasting, NPR President and CEO Catherine Marr said in a statement. She said NPR would respond by stepping up to support locally owned, non-profit public radio stations and local journalism across the country, working to maintain public media's promise of universal service, and upholding the highest standards for independent journalism and cultural programming in service of our nation. The network has pledged to take $8 million from its budget to help local stations in its official TNA Wrestling presents Bound for Glory on Sunday, October 12, at the Tsonga Center in Lowell, Massachusetts. TNA Wrestling announced that its biggest event of the year, Bound for Glory, will be held on Sunday, October 12, at the Tsonga Center in Lowell, Massachusetts, marking the first TNA Live event in Lowell since 2013 and the first TNA pay-per-view in the city since the legendary 2008 Lockdown event. Bound for Glory will take place during a red-hot period for TNA of sold-out crowds, social media buzz, critical acclaim and a hugely successful multi-year partnership with WWE, creating unprecedented crossover opportunities for TNA wrestling stars and WWE superstars. The BFG announcement was made as Slammiversary PPV, a show which saw NXT star Trick Williams retain the TNA World Championship, Leon Slater become the youngest TNA X Division champion in history, and an appearance by wrestling legend Edge Styles. TNA Wrestling continues to grow, expand and fulfill our goal to reach more fans in more places, said TNA Wrestling President Carlos Silva. Massachusetts has a special place in the history of TNA. I'm so excited that we will be returning there for the flagship pay-per-view at the Tsonga Center. Bound for Glory will air live on TNA Plus and PPV. Fans with the TNA Plus annual VIP membership will get every PPV, including Bound for Glory, every Impact episode, every Explosion episode, the full TNA archive and access to exclusive VIP membership content, merchandise and giveaways.
Thank you, Eric. Wow, that was a lot. Well, guys, that's going to be a wrap of this video. Thank you so much for taking time watching this video. I know UML fan Chris Romero News went on hiatus because I'm mostly focused on the summer of UML fan. And yeah, but I still have not forgotten about y'all. And here are some honorable mentions. In case you missed it, I was a guest star on Gaff Random's The Logo Show. It is available right now to watch, as well as P-Head. I also heard today's a very special day. And yes, today is Foxy's birthday. So on behalf of UML fan Chris Romero, happy birthday, Foxy. And also, speaking of which, special thank you to her for making this background. And a special thank you as well to Lorenzer for making this background. Tune in tomorrow on UML fan Chris Romero for the debut of the Lowell Caribbean Festival. And check out the El Salvadorian Festival if you have not already. Oh, I didn't mention this earlier in the video. Mono's AU channel, Al39 in Tampa Bay, is going independent this Monday. And one last thing before UML fan Chris Romero News signs off. The Fox and YouTube TV situation has been resolved. it is still on YouTube TV. They have signed an agreement. And I have one more news from Eric. If I did not get everyone's submissions, please let me know in the comments so that you can be added in the next UML Fan Chris Romero news. Until then, I will see you all tomorrow.
Eastern Illinois University will end its affiliation with the Public Broadcasting Service, PBS, effective October 1, 2025. The difficult decision follows the elimination of federal funding from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, CPB, which will officially conclude September 30, 2025, the university said in a statement. According to university leaders, the resultant shift in WEIU TV's funding model makes sure WEIU students will still have access to their broadcast journalism and news media production learning experiences at WEIU. This includes its student newscast, News Watch, and related weather programming. According to university leaders, the resultant shift in WEIU TV's funding model makes sure WEIU students will still have access to their broadcast journalism and news media production learning experiences at WEIU. This includes its student newscast, News Watch, and related weather programming. Currently, PBS accounts for approximately 25% of WEIU TV's programming. The station has identified existing programming options to replace its existing PBS content. Going forward, WEIU TV will drop its PBS brand affiliation and officially operate as a service of Eastern Illinois University. The change does not impact WEIU FM, which is licensed separately and not affected by the elimination of federal CPB funding. The station's annual operational costs totaled roughly $1 million last year. WEIU said the station has not received any institutionally appropriated money since 2016. Grants, underwriting, and local fundraising drives offset those costs by up to $165,000 each year. Unfortunately, the elimination of federal funding on September 30 represents a loss of more than $790,000, nearly 80% of this station's overall annual operations budget. The university